fear is just false evidence appearing real. It's not, it's an illusion.
Welcome to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. We don't help people to find themselves, we help people to create themselves. And the only entrance requirements are the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. And if you have a few pixie dust sprinkles of those, put your oar in the water, start paddling, welcome aboard, and you're here. My name is Jim Ellermeyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist, and today I'm joined by one of my favorite guests, and that's not to the exclusion of any of our other guests in there, but every December, I always look forward to having my friend Santina Grace appear with us. Santina Grace is a clairvoyant medium, but also what she does, she has such an insightful insight into the world and into human psychology and how people operate and the peculiarities of their lives. Welcome, Santina.
Oh, thanks for having me. I think I've been coming here since, I want to say 2019. Does that seem right?
Well, what I know is you're here right now.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Let's just say that.
Well, we're all happy to be anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like a happy every day.
It's true.
People say have a good day. I say have a happy every day.
That's right. It's hard to do sometimes.
It is. So we had discussed about some of the topics that we'd like to discuss tonight, and one of them was finding joy in a chaotic world.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that everyone wants to achieve lately, but it becomes increasingly difficult and challenging. It just seems like the speed of life is speeding up. It's just going faster and faster and faster. I was even thinking about, I've been working now over 20 years, and the difference of, when I started my career and the pace of what it is now, it's like it's inhumane. Lunch breaks are kind of non-existent. People like really move fast, and then with the introduction of AI, people don't know what to think about it. So once again, more uncertainty. Is it going to cost me a job? Is it going to help my job? Is it going to help me? Is it going to, we just don't know a lot of this stuff right now. And so, I don't know. I've always felt there's value in just being able to kind of navigate the world and be self-sufficient and not reliant on technology. We've talked about that in the past and over the years. I even think I talked to you a couple times about using my own internal GPS and basically using kind of my abilities to remote view my pathway forward and decide, which feels like it has less traffic, and using that as the way that I navigate and not so much trusting Google, because Google doesn't always know.
We've discussed before about the myth of productivity that people seem to have. Could you say more about that and some of the people that you deal with?
Myth of productivity?
There's a myth of productivity.
Oh, that's right. We have talked about
that. Our identity is tied to how much we produce.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people kind of have this feeling of like, oh, I've got to get this done and that done. I've got a to-do list and it has to be done by XYZ time or whatever. And even in life, we may, think by this age, I need to be doing this or whatever. And I just kind of feel like when we do that, we trap ourselves in our own prison. We create this kind of confined, kind of limited way of existing, and it doesn't really allow us I love what you said in the opening, but it's like you're not allowing yourself the possibility of the unknown. You're not allowing yourself to be kind of in this flow state with nature and with your surroundings. And I don't know. I just think you rob yourself of joy in the expectation or in the building of confining yourself to certain timelines, certain criteria that or missions that you need to complete. It's just futility. At the end of the day, if this was your last day on earth, would any of it matter? I've said that over and over again. Would it matter? Would you care? Would you care? I don't think so.
Mike and I, the producer of this program, we used to work with a psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Safdar Chandray. Wonderful guy. I've learned so much from him. And he was the absolute master of the non-answer. You would ask him something, and his pat answer to me was, Jim, my friend, all futures are possible. But over the years, I got to find out more and more of what that meant,
Mm-hmm.
that all futures are
They
possible,
are, yeah.
and that no one can steal your joy unless you.
That's true. And we were talking earlier a little bit about choices and that, the way that you approach your day, your life, the week, the month, it's a choice. It's a choice and you can choose to kind of dwell in something that you might feel stuck in or trapped in or out of your control. But what's the point? It's kind of a waste of energy. So it's better to just figure out, well, what brings me joy and comfort in this moment? And sometimes it's a little thing of like, I'm just going to make myself a cup of tea. I'm going to have some hot tea and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be mindful and I'm going to enjoy each sip and I'm going to be present with it. And like, I try to teach people things too about like, we take so much for granted. We do. I mean, even like a bag of tea that was produced, those are like tea leaves that grew, that took time to grow, and we just slug it down, and even the food that we eat, we have to think about where it came from and it had a journey and there, if you eat meat, it had a life, and in the native, a lot of indigenous, people, they believe in honoring the life of the food that you're about to partake in. And, in religions, they teach you to like pray over your food, but whatever it may be, it's about honoring it. It's about being present, being aware, and noticing kind of like all of the little things that create your creature comforts. The electricity, the heat that we have in this building right now. I mean, these are things that can bring you joy just when you walk in from the cold, right? There's people who don't have places of warmth. So you think about how to be grateful, how to find the gratitude in kind of like mundane things. That's the first step of being able to be kind of in the driver's seat and deciding on your own joy. Is you start with little things, and then those little things, the more gratitude that you have, it's kind of like you get the attitude of gratitude, and then things just start kind of showing up for you. People start showing up for you, and it's like then you have more to be grateful for. It just becomes almost like a snowball of like positive energy. And I feel like what we find in the world nowadays, it becomes a snowball of negative energy because we were talking about it. You kind of get wrapped up in social media, you get wrapped up in whatever the media story of the day is, and then it can snowball and totally zap your energy and do the opposite of creating joy. It can deplete you and it can kind of take you out of the now, out of what you can control, out of what you can appreciate. It takes you and puts you into some kind of alternate universe, alternate state. It's like you're interacting with problems that, yes, they're issues and they're part of this world, but if you can't immediately impact, change, affect, do anything to it in this very moment, then why would you let it rob you of your own present moment, your own joy, your own being? And I mean, I don't mean to sound callous and that things aren't horrible in the world and that we shouldn't care. It's just knowing the difference of when something is taking away your energy versus something is when something is that wrong, then you should figure out what you can do about it. Is it, can I just affect my own energy, or can I donate? Can I volunteer? What can I do that can change this thing? I think when we get in the state of helplessness comes the hopelessness. And so it's about always seeking out in any situation, what can I do to it? If you can't do anything or impact it, then figure out how to bring out joy or how to help others. That's the end of the day, that's all it really matters to me, I think.
We've discussed on previous podcasts, Santina, about the illusion of separateness.
Yeah.
And one of the new Pope's pronouncements said that if being anti woke is sleeping through the suffering of others, then call me woke.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't sleep through suffering. I mean, so that's a real thing, but I've said this to people too. When somebody is sick with a cold, you don't go up to them and hug them and say, "Give me your cold so that it lessens yours." It doesn't. It just spreads the cold. So there's a time and a place for saying, like, I see that you're sick. I see that, you might need some support. I'm going to just stay in my place until it's okay for me to come and help you. There's nothing wrong with that either. I think that we talked a little bit about guilt and things like that, and there really shouldn't be guilt in also taking care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. You really can't.
Well, I deal with so many people who feel that they're not worthy.
Mm,
And it's generational transmission of telling you're not worthy. You're telling young children, you're stupid, you're lazy, you'll never get anywhere, I'm disappointed in you, all those type of things. Children aren't born with that type of personality. It's created.
yeah, that is true. I mean, I just think, yeah, I don't know, children have their own kind of joy and their own happiness, and they're very present. They're very much in every moment. That's why they don't kind of get too bent out of shape for too long. They'll cry, they'll have a tantrum, they'll move on. And I feel like somewhere along the way, we as humans lost that. We shouldn't have ever lost that. I think it's still okay to have a tantrum from time to time, because sometimes the world is frustrating. Sometimes it's scary. And so I'm not under any illusion that you can just always be in joy all the time. No, I mean, sometimes I'll make a choice to be angry about something, but I also make the choice that I'm only allowing myself to wallow in my anger for 24 hours. There's a time limit on my anger. And then once that 24-hour period happens, I have to like flip the switch. And flipping the switch might be going for a walk in the woods, calling up an old friend I haven't seen in forever and catching up with them, going and watching like some kind of comedy movie or something like that. It's called like flipping the switch on like what I'm focused on.
You're talking about paying attention on purpose. And
Mhm.
quite often, what we suggest to people is that mindfulness is not about going over to Thailand in a purple, a saffron robe, was surrounded by 10,000 candles, gone all day.
Yeah.
It's about paying attention on purpose, being active in your life, being in the moment. Children have deep feelings. They have deep, deep feelings, but they can add immediacy to how they feel. So what we often suggest to people is, if they can describe how they feel, but add immediacy to it. I'm angry right now, at present, in this moment. Because if we don't add immediacy to how we feel and we add our thoughts to them, then it stretches out into what we call enduring agony. And a lot of people live their life in enduring agony.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Jim Ellermeyer back again from Fishing Without Bait. And as we offer and express transparency, this is a shameless plug for a book that we are selling. This is a 365-day calendar where we have a Zen type of picture to draw with a caption, and then we ask some thoughtful questions that people can answer, such as, what are your general thoughts about the quote? What is the morning thought in the morning? What is your evening thought? And what will you do tomorrow to spread kindness? Okay? And the beauty of this is that it's not numbered. You can pick any page out. It's not numbered. You can pick any day out and pick any quote out you want, or not. So what we're doing, we're asking people to use this as some type of a mindfulness activity to start their day. When we start our day, not trying to race through the day or with anxiety, but rather maybe some introspective self-talk, some internal validation. And what we're doing here is this. Also, what we'd like to do, we're going to be offering some Patreon material, maybe some behind the themes things, or some of the podcasts that we've done where we take a deeper dive. And we'd like to get your thoughts on that. What would you like to see? Are there any podcasts that we've done where you would like us to do a deeper dive? So you can please contact the show, and we'd be glad to explore that. And as always, we're looking for stories of recovery. Everybody's in recovery from something. We like to know how you got here from there. And please be good to yourself. And yes, this is a shameless plug.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky and fortunate enough to have grown up in Pittsburgh during a time when Mr. Rogers was on my television every single day. And the one thing he always talked about was if you can talk about it, you can manage it. And I think that we just need a reminder of that. We just need a reminder of anything that can be talked about can be dealt with.
Well,
Yeah.
being able to describe your issues and describe your problem is halfway to solving them.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. I mean, and sometimes you can't describe it. So sometimes you've got to figure out, through art or drawing or music or whatever outlet, people can do. So I don't know. I just think it's about expression, and it's about not holding back that expression. And you can find joy in that too. Like, if I'm completely honest, sometimes you just have to remove some of the anger, some of the stuff that holds you back to find joy as well. And so in that, it's a fruitful journey to kind of go to those dark places and investigate your anger or your sadness, or maybe even your feelings of not living up to a certain whatever standard that society told you. It's about like sitting with it and really investigating that, and like not being afraid to look that in the eyes for yourself.
Well, I find that most resistance is based on fear.
Yeah.
Most anxiety is based on fear. Anxiety cannot live in the present. It can only
Right.
exist in the future. So we were talking about finding joy in a chaotic world. I don't think most people understand what joy is.
Yeah.
We try to help people understand the difference between pleasure and joy.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure needs sustain, and I ought to think of something else to use for this, but pleasure is like eating potato chips. As long as you're eating the potato chips, you're feeling the pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you take the potato chips away, you're no longer feeling that
Yeah,
pleasure.
I would say chocolate for me. But yeah, I get that. That's kind of like some kind of an external stimulus that creates some sort of feeling of euphoria, whether you want to get into the, whatever's happening in your brain and what's happening with your body chemically. That there's stuff that they can prove. I'm not a scientific person, but I know that those things happen. But I also know that, through simple breath work, you can achieve the same things as that chocolate and those potato
Sure,
chips through
absolutely.
through just like a hug and some laughter with people who you truly care about achieves the same thing.
Or think of someone that you truly love. You don't need to be in their presence to feel that love
It's
that you
true.
have
You
for
just can
them.
think about them. And they don't even have to even really still be alive either. I mean, that's been my perspective, is that I could just think of somebody even in the past who isn't in they're in spirit now. They're not even physically here on earth, and they bring me joy, you know?
Or our friend, the Trappist Buddhist monk Thomas Merton, said that we were created for joy, we were not created for pleasure, and
Hmm.
if you don't know the difference, you've yet begun to live.
Yeah,
But
that's
we're
pretty
always
wise.
seem to be searching after that next thing, that next thing, the next thing. And you were talking about finding joy in each moment and keeping track of these small victories, these small moments in life. Say more about that and how you help people understand that the small moments are more meaningful than others.
Yeah, so whenever I work with people, a lot of times I'm tuning into kind of their energy field. I'm sensing what's going on with them physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, all four. So I like kind of tune into what's going on there. And so whenever I've dealt with folks who are depressed or are just maybe grieving and really having a difficult time with their grief, the best way that I've been able to kind of, I think, help them to live within that grief and to live within that sadness is to just kind of say, within that space, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be down. You have to feel these things. It's part of the human experience. But never forget that there's always like a little window of light that can pop in. And in that moment, I always kind of try to remind them, think about some memory that you have with somebody who might not be here anymore, and just think about something that made you laugh, something that was humorous, just one of your favorite thoughts or memories. And I'm like, that can never ever be taken from you, even though they're not physically here. That is yours forever. And I think that that's what's lost on so many people in the world now, is that our connections, our experiences, our lived moments are the most precious things that we will ever possess. And they can never be stolen, they can never be taken away. Even if you become, in your later years, someone who can't really be very present in this moment and your memories are all of another time, those are memories that can never be taken away. So, I don't know. I just think that if we think about the fact that we own these things, these are the only things really that we own. We own them. They make us up. They're who we are. They create kind of how we show up to the world, how we connect with others. It's learned from our connections with people. It's learned from experience. It's learned from having your heart broken, being disappointed, being let down, not feeling good enough. Those shape who we are. And even the things that might not be positive memories, they shaped who you have become. So you have to honor them. And I think that's when you find true joy, true peace with yourself. When you realize, I don't know why I was such a goofball and I did all these things that I would never do now. But, it's like, well, because I learned that I don't want to do those things, right? So that's how I kind of work with people that come to me so that they can find. I think for me, the thing that I try to help people find is personal peace. And then through personal peace, you can find personal joy, because you have to be at peace with yourself, with your choices, with the world, with your place in that world, and understand that the choices that you made got you to the place where you are. And if you're not okay with that, then you have other choices that you can make to get you to a different place. And I think a lot of times people get in this mindset of feeling like out of control of their life, or feeling that they don't have the ability to change it or make a choice with things, but they do. I mean, and I feel like that gets back to the fear aspect. And I know we've talked about fear a lot, and it stuck with me from years ago, of somebody said fear is just false evidence appearing real. It's not, it's an illusion. The best, most rewarding things for me in life have been when I faced my fears, when I really dug into why I had hesitance with something, or why I had a fear of something, and then forced myself into it. Then I realized that it really didn't bother me at all.
All courage is the ability to deal with fear. No one's fearless. If you want to see somebody fearless, go to the movies
Yeah.
to see an action hero. And what we carry through life is memories, knickknacks, t-shirts, photographs, all these things. All they do is they trigger memories.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All they are kind of like connections. They're almost like plugs into a time, a space, a whatever. And so, whenever I see like shows where people have got these houses full of all this memorabilia and collections and stuff like that, I just feel like take a picture of it, put it in a phone. You can access it whenever you want. You don't need the physical object. You know what I mean? So I hear you, but I'm not as interested in accumulating physical evidence of my connections and my memories. I'm more interested in being able to kind of have my own little connection in my brain with these places.
Well, that's what we carry. We carry
Yeah.
memories. We can lose photographs. We can
Hmm.
lose t-shirts. We can lose
It's true.
knickknacks. We can lose all those things, but we can't lose our memories. So what we talk about in my world is we talk about anchoring thoughts. We talk about anchoring memories. We think of a time in our lives when there was complete joy and comfort, and we try to reimagine that and try to find some trigger. Um, an example of that. I was dealing with a person a long time ago who was trying to deal with the cravings of methamphetamine, which is a powerful drug. It just dives into your bones. And we thought about, well, what the time in your life that you felt the most free and most comfort? It was when he was 17 years old. And it was when he had this big, huge Oldsmobile with a big, huge Hemi engine. And he'd be in that 17 years old listening to Pantera on an 8-track, okay,
Mhm.
pounding. And I thought, well, how are we going to re-trigger that memory? And I asked him, I said, did you have a air freshener in your car? And he goes, yeah, I always used a strawberry one.
Oh.
So what we did was we got a small bottle of essential oil, strawberry essential oil, and every time he would take a whiff of that, he would imagine that scene of him with his hair with the windows down and blasting Pantera in this big, beautiful Oldsmobile. And we would do that over and over and over again until it became a pattern of behavior.
Hmm.
That strawberry essential oil would trigger that thought. And every time there was a craving, he didn't even need the essential oil anymore.
Right.
All he ever thought was the essence of that strawberry, and it would bring back that anchoring thought.
I love that.
And I try to help people at least one or two anchoring thoughts in their life.
Yeah. And using and being able to use your senses to do that is also something to be really kind of grateful about, the fact that he can smell. There are some people who can't anymore.
Well, it's a grounding technique.
Yeah.
I deal with people who deal with a lot of depersonalization, derealization, and they just feel that they don't belong. They don't
Mhm.
feel that they feel awkward. They feel like they're in another time and they shouldn't even be in this space.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel like there is a lot of folks that do kind of cling to that kind of energy of like, this is not the right time for me. But, I think we've talked about this. Like, there was never a time that didn't have some sort of chaotic energy. I mean, that is the whole point of the school of life is you have to come here and live through chaos and live through, hardship and learn resilience and learn how to find that inner strength, how to find your coping mechanism. And you are teaching people that. You're kind of saying, use this smell trigger to take you away from making a bad choice.
Oh, I'd like to remind you that we're going to continue our conversation next week on our next podcast with our delightful guest, Santina Grace. So stay tuned for that. And also this free prescription I know you've been waiting for. Fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations. Please do a kindness for yourself, and please do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself, and please forgive another. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste, my friends.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.